Welcome back. In today's video, I want to share with you my experience with taking NAD precursors. I also want to share with you a test I recently took to actually measure my NAD levels. But first of all, what is NAD? If you have been here for a little while, you have heard me talk about NAD quite a bit. I have made several videos on it. I will link them all down below in case you're curious. NAD, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, is a coenzyme, a helper molecule, which is found in nearly every cell of our body. It fuels hundreds of biological processes, such as converting food into energy, repairing DNA damage. It even helps regulate our sleep-wake cycle. NAD is so important that it is speculated that without NAD, we would be dead within 30 seconds. Low levels of NAD have been linked to health concerns such as aging, chronic diseases, diabetes, and neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's. And while NAD is found in nearly every cell of our body, certain things will lower NAD levels, such as obesity, a sedentary lifestyle, alcohol consumption, viral infections, and unfortunately, as we age, our levels of NAD decline. It is said that by age 50, we only have about 50% of our NAD. However, luckily, there are some things we can do to naturally increase our levels of NAD. Exercise is a great way to increase NAD levels. Fasting can also be very beneficial. So can eating certain foods, such as mushrooms, whole grains, green vegetables, and fish, since these foods are rich in vitamin B3 or niacin. Avoiding or at least cutting down on alcohol consumption can also be very beneficial. So can avoiding excessive sun exposure, since the body uses up NAD to repair cells which have been damaged as a result of excessive UV exposure. And lastly, we can take an NAD precursor. NAD precursors are forms of vitamin B3, niacin, and the most commonly used are NR, Nicotinamide Ribocyte, and NMN, Nicotinamide mononucleotide. Some people speculate that just straight up niacin will also increase NAD levels. Now, I started taking an NAD precursor a little over a year ago. While I do most of the things we can do to naturally increase our NAD levels, I exercise, I avoid the sun, I don't drink alcohol, I eat most of the foods I talked about. I don't fast since I have a history of an eating disorder, but I do most of the things which can help increase our NAD levels. But I had a conversation with my doctor a little over a year ago, and we talked about NAD, the importance of it, and how NAD precursors can be quite beneficial. So after that conversation, I started taking nicotinamide ribocyte. I have it right here. So this is what I started taking a little over a year ago. This is by Tru Niagen, and again, it is nicotinamide ribocyte. One capsule is 300 grams, and that's all I took. I took one capsule a day, and within days, I could feel a difference. The first thing I noticed is that the quality of my sleep improved. Now, I have never been the greatest sleeper. I wake up quite frequently, and before taking NAD precursors, it felt that even when I was asleep, the quality of my sleep was just not the greatest. So while I still wake up in the middle of the night a couple of times, while I'm asleep, the quality of my sleep has drastically improved. And that started really fast with taking nicotinamide ribocyte. The next thing I noticed is that I started having really good workouts. Now, I have been an athlete my whole life, but suddenly at age 51, when I started taking this, I was 51, now I'm 52, But suddenly at age 51, I was having really great workouts. I felt very strong. I started lifting heavier weights than I ever have. And then I also just felt this overall sense of well-being, which is really hard to describe since I wasn't feeling bad. So all of that had me hooked on NAD precursors. However, about 6 months into it, out of curiosity, I wanted to try NMN, Nicotinamide Mononucleotide. So about 6 months later, after taking this, I then started taking this. This is by Alive by Science, and it is their Liposomal Nicotinamide Mononucleotide. And I have to say, when I made the switch, I felt even better. The quality of my sleep further improved. I was having even better workouts. And again, overall, I just felt really good, really energetic. Now, I've never really had a problem with a lack of energy, but before taking NAD precursors, usually around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a nap sounded quite nice. I didn't often take a nap, but it sounded nice. But when I started taking NAD precursors, that sort of went away, and I had a nice sustained energy throughout the day. So I took this for about 4 months, and one pump of this is 250 milligrams, and that would make this last for 2 months. So I started taking 1 pump, then I increased it to 2 pumps. So after a while, I was taking 500 milligrams. So this only lasted me for about a month, and this isn't that cheap, and I really wanted to increase my dose further. I wanted to start taking 1 gram, which is supposedly what David Sinclair takes. And if you're not familiar with David Sinclair, he's a fascinating man. He is a Harvard professor studying the field of longevity and aging, and he has done quite a few experiments with NMN. I will leave some of his information down below. So supposedly, David Sinclair takes 1 gram of NMN. So since this would have gotten a bit too costly, I then switched over to an NMN powder, and I started taking this right here by DoNotAge, and slowly increased my NMN to 1 gram. And on 1 gram, I started feeling even better. The quality of my sleep improved even further. Now, I still wake up a couple of times a night, but when I'm asleep, my sleep is nice and deep. My workouts have gotten even better. My husband keeps saying, stop using my weights when we work out together. I have really gotten much stronger, which amazes me at age 52. And then what I've also noticed, I don't have a lot of gray hair, which is surprising because my dad is completely white. But over the last decade, I have definitely gotten quite a few, especially right here at the front. And I've found myself basically plugging a few of them every day. Since increasing my dosage to 1 gram, I haven't had 1 gray hair. So 1 gram, I feel fantastic on, and that is what I'm going to stay on. And by the way, I want to say really quickly, if you are thinking of taking NAD precursors, please make sure to talk to your doctor first. Now, again, NAD precursors are a form of vitamin B3, niacin. They have very little, if any, side effects. But please talk to your doctor first before you start taking an NAD precursor. So for the last, I would say 4 months, I have been taking 1 gram of NMN. And then just recently, DoNotAge actually came out with an NAD test. Now there are actually now human trials emerging showing the efficacy of NMN, but I wanted to do my own experiment. So I wanted to really take this NAD test and see where my NAD levels are at. Now, of course, I have been taking NAD precursors for over a year now, so I don't have a baseline. Unfortunately, I wish I would. What I could have done is stop all my supplementation for a couple of months, get a baseline, then start taking it again, and then see how high it would get me. But I was not willing to stop my supplementation because I just feel so good taking NAD precursors. So instead, what I decided to do is take the test at my current supplementation of 1 gram. Take the test, then take it again in 4 weeks, and in those 4 weeks, increase my level of NMN to 2 grams. Now, 2 grams, honestly, is not really sustainable for me, because though prices of NMN have really come down, 2 grams is still somewhat expensive. So this is just something I wanted to do as an experiment. So I got the test, I took it first thing in the morning. It is a very easy test. Everything you need for it comes in an envelope. It comes with instructions. It comes with a little package of alcohol wipes, band-aids, and 2 lancets. And then it comes with a little card. On the card are 5 circles. So you put on some gloves, you clean your finger with alcohol, you prick it, and then you fill in the marked circles with your blood. You then put a couple of drops of developer on it. Once it's dry, you send it off, and within a couple of weeks, you get your results via email. So again, I took the first test at my current supplementation of 1 gram. So you can see right here, here's my first test result. And as you can see, the scale goes from 0 to 100. However, anything 34 or below is really not optimal. So my test result, as you can see, is 67.1. And I was actually quite happy with that test result. Right after I took the test, I then increased my NMN to 2 grams. I also increased my TMG, my trimethylglycine. And if you have not seen my supplement video, if you haven't, I will link it down below. But in that video, I talk about the importance of taking a methyl donor when you take an NAD precursor. It is speculated that forms of vitamin 3 deplete methyl donors. So taking a methyl donor such as TMG and or other methyl donors when you take an NAD precursor is a good idea. Normally when I take 1 gram of NMN, I also take 1 gram of TMG. But when I increased my NMN to 2 grams, I also increased my TMG to 2 grams. I did that for 1 month, or just a tiny bit over 1 month, and then I took the test again. And as you can see, my level went from 67.1, which I thought was already fantastic, to 84.5. So after just a bit more over 4 weeks of increasing my NMN, my levels went from 67.1 to 84.5, so almost a third higher. Now, while I had no doubt in my mind that NAD precursors actually work, it is still really fun and interesting to see it in black and white. However, though my levels increased even further, right after I took the second test, I then went back to taking just 1 gram of NMN. As I said earlier, for me personally, 2 grams is just not sustainable, and I feel wonderful on 1 gram. Honestly, between the 1 gram and the 2 grams, I did not notice much difference. There were some days where I thought I feel even better, but overall, I didn't notice a huge difference. And 1 gram seems to be the spot for me, and that is where I'm going to stay. I also decreased my dosage of TMG again to 1 gram. So I hope this video was interesting, helpful. Let me know down below if you take NAD precursors, and if so, which do you take, and what have you noticed? Also, have you taken this test, and if so, what were your results? Again, it would have been really great to have a baseline, then start supplementing and seeing what happens. But I think it was still fascinating to see that just in a little over 4 weeks, it actually increased by almost a third. So again, I hope this was helpful. Any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I always love to hear from you. And I always so appreciate the time you spent with me. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, Bye.